Hi, Brian Rizzino. Today, I wanted to share with you the importance of discipline because discipline is the underlying essential ingredient for our success, whatever we do. It is like an engine of a car. If it works fully functional, then we can go anywhere. But if there is a little bit of problems or even broken down, it has a lot of issues along the way, and or sometimes it's not moving at all. And if the car, let's say, has no engine, means no discipline, then it's just a piece of junk. Just like that, having the discipline will really determine your life path. And so, first, like a discipline, what I'm talking about is doing something right to get to what we want, our goal, and in excellent manner, and no matter what it takes. Even if we feel pain, suffering, or even pressure that we go through to get things done. For me, earlier in life, I didn't quite understand the concept of discipline quite well. And what happened was, since I wasn't quite sure what that is, I knew something painful. That's kind of my idea, and also something to do with like a punishment, like a form of punishment. But then this wrong notion of discipline really cost me quite a lot of achievement when I think about this. And for instance, I avoided not necessarily avoided like everything, but things are seems too scary, too uncertain, or when I was doing something, when things get too difficult, even though what I'm doing is actually right, or the idea was good. It's just the how to do it, or the time it takes, or things of nature is just too painful to hang on and just keep going. So when I felt that way, it's like instead of overcoming those like frustration or disappointment, I quit. And I just didn't really recognize that the overcoming these type of emotions or situations were the keys to really advance in whatever I wanted to do. So everything was ended in half-ass, so to speak. So after a while, like I started noticing, like it took years, and sometimes I hit, it was necessary for me to go through, or there was no chance I gave up on some sort of the obstacle, because if I fail, the failure was the catastrophic. So I had to do it. But then when I had to do it, and if I put my full focus, it takes time. It took time, but somehow I made it through. And after a few times over the years of this type of experiences, I realized that what was really necessary at those points, and anytime why my life hasn't really been going that far is the solid discipline that has been lacking. And when we think about it, like anytime when we do something new or when we challenge something, when we change things, which is the essence of growth, we're gonna fumble. We're gonna feel embarrassment. We're gonna feel disappointment, ridicule, shame, sometimes almost like a feeling of panic. And these type of things, it's just must overcome. If you're like timid and feel always uncomfortable and all that, like the emotion that you, if you cannot handle those, or rather push those through to get what you want, there is zero chance you're gonna get those, because it's really easy to shut yourself into a wall and then just forget about the direction of the path that you should have taken. I mean, human beings' life is like each day, each moment, like a branch that in any direction that you can take. So if you don't take one direction, then you can get by with the others. But then only with a discipline we can actually go through the path that leads to our success. So the first difficulty I wanted to talk about is like why really why we're discussing about this is important is because like knowing what we can expect to come, like whenever we do something, right, like meaningful, there will be all sorts of difficulty and hardships, like grind works. And I told you about the rejection, ridicule, and you have to do it like diligently, consistently, and so on and so forth. And as long as you know what's been expected, then your mind can be ready. And then that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. And then when you encounter this type of situation, you can recognize it, and then you can use your discipline to overcome it. And some people might say like, hey, I don't want to put that much effort to it. You know, I mean, some people say just take it easy. Okay, life can be balanced, or things that a little make the life easier, right? And there's a lot of people agree with that type of stance. And of course, like sometimes we gotta relax, you know, have fun. I'm not talking about the not having those, right? I'm talking about the when it comes to what's really necessary or important for your life. That's the time you really have to use your full discipline. Otherwise, you're gonna suffer in a sense. Or some people might say it's okay, but it is a lot harder life, like of a mediocrity and underperformance. And then you're probably not gonna get doing what you like or what you want to do in life. It's almost like you're, in a sense, sustaining life rather than living in it. So when you're gonna have to really use the discipline, you will know whenever something what you're doing is quite important or essential. And but you might not know actually. That's a problem. Uh, Even little things, right? Like little things, sometimes people think, oh, this is not that important, but that's a lot of times little things are what really matters. So whenever you feel uncomfortable or kind of frustrated or fearful, I want you to really think about if whatever you're doing right now is something worthwhile or rather like beneficial to yourself. Means it's like in the long term, it'll adds to your character or skills or any positive that can give it to you, like going through that, whatever the tasks that you're doing, or task itself might train yourself, right? I mean, like a workout. Okay, what's the meaning of workout? Like lifting things, like heavy things, right? It doesn't seem like meaningful, you know, activities, but actually you can build your muscle, you can be healthy, and so on and so forth. So it's not easy really to identify that whatever you do are important or not. But then let's say if the task is given, and then it's your responsibility, it's your task, then you really want to do it like in an excellent manner, like do your best. There is just sometimes the occasion that that's a caveat. It's not like everything you do you should keep going, right? Some of the things you have to take the priorities. Means it's like, okay, whatever you're doing is not quite priority. Means it's like there's other things that are important. But then you're kind of focusing on the minutia of some irrelevant things, right? I mean, there's a lot of people actually, or tends to do it. Means it's like kind of busy with a lot of other like daily chores, and then you forget about your important things that actually built your future. So what I'm really trying to say is, but then these kind of little tasks you can actually build the discipline. Means it's like you don't want to do it, but then once you get that like sense of discipline, okay, I can go through all these like hardships, then you might want to just delegate and then focus on like it's critical to focus on the main things like priorities. So discipline can go too far. Okay, so you got to be able to strategic and adapt, and also flexible. Like you got to actually think. Yeah, this is a principle that we're talking about. Like right, like discipline is important, but you don't want to be dogmatic. You don't want to be everything has to have a discipline. And but then once you have it, then you will know what you when you can use discipline or not, right? Like your emotion gets so high, you can use the discipline to bring it down, and then you may want to quit, but then you can bring your discipline to have some other emotion to overtake this, and then just keep moving forward, or things on it, or just keep doing whatever that is. So what is really the steps to develop discipline? It have to be it's best that you do it voluntarily. What it means is that rather than somebody's telling you, okay, you do this, do that, and then say, like I don't want to do it, but I have to do it, and they kind of half-ass can measure and do that. That doesn't quite create discipline that you want. Discipline is something that you challenge yourself, like voluntarily. Like it's something that you fear for, or something like you put off, right? Maybe I can do it tomorrow, or something like that. Then just use that moment to say, why can I do it today? let's just do today, do something today. Like we tend to get this laziness, right, in the human nature. That's the time you always want to push it. Or like, let's say when you want to quit, like, okay, one more, okay, one more, a little bit more, just kind of keep pushing. And then if you can do it like more than yesterday, then that creates the effective strengths of your discipline. So what you want to focus on, this type of like the challenges your attitude. Like if you find your attitudes might not be that great, like you tend to think negatively, or treat people badly, or whatever they are. Those are quite in the long term destructive. So you wanted to actually, okay, I realize that I do this. Then you push yourself to not do it. It's not easy, but then you just have to continue. And also like a diligence, and also like a responsibility and all that stuff. You will know the diligence falter. I mean, it's just like diligence is just doing things really consistently. And you might say, oh, something happened, I couldn't do it. Or yeah, there's just somebody tells me that other tasks that I have to do, or there's more fun thing. That's the time you got to use your diligence, like training. And then that means it's like, okay, before I do this, let me focus on 30-40 minutes to finish my task for today. Then I will play, or I will do something else. You have to have that diligence. And also it ties into a responsibility, for your life. And another thing you can do is like physical exercise, right? Like it is, and it is very visible that then it's going to be good for you. Lifting weights, running, or things of that nature, and control your diet. And these kind of stuff requires discipline, because you fight against something that difficult, and it requires pain or suffering. Either way, either one, like exercise or nutrition. Nutrition wise, I wanted to eat this, but I gotta stop it. I didn't want to eat this, but then this is good for me, so I eat it. And then and this type of the adjustment you make, that's where you can develop your discipline. And it may take years, generally like a couple months. You can actually see the major difference. And actually, and it probably once you get that discipline, people see you differently, because you transform yourself. That's how powerful the discipline is. It's like some car that didn't quite run. Now you got the brand new engine. Now you can make the engine into a supercar, like if you try hard. So the performance is just enormously different. But then these things are not easy things to do, right? Everything have to go through all this challenges. So yeah, do step by step. Also, always welcome the challenges. That's another things that are important to develop your disciplines. Never avoid, because if you keep avoiding the pains or suffering, then you are not going anywhere. The treasure you're gonna get is over the path of hardships. There is no way around it. There will be pain. So always willing to challenge yourself for the meaningful goal. And so you want to work on your body, and also your mind. So you want to read books. I mean, some people say, you know what, like I'll just do it or whatever. But then it's not as simple as that. You know, when you just do it by yourself, without the help of like books and things, you're gonna keep reinventing the wheels, so to speak. And our time is very limited, so you really need education. So keep reading books if you are, and if you haven't, and start reading some books, like whatever the things interest you, business or whatever the direction you want to go. But then generally, like you need a business and self-help. That definitely helps, and also the specialized section of your project. If you're doing like soccer or like let's say like music or whatever, you might want to check out like some of the professional like teachers or people who are successful and wrote about how to do it. There should be these type of literatures. So yeah, that, and then you can train your mind. And if you do all this kind of problem solvings or treat people right or whatever that is, like it's not easy because people, the more you interact with people, you feel more frictions and conflict, and it's easy to get like kind of pissed off in a sense. So but then if you go through this process, like going towards doing the right thing, and you can actually train your soul in a sense. And so there is a lot of it is a really that you're controlling your emotion, like, and then you're gonna have a lot of pushback from your innate feelings. I mean, some people feel so much about the negative feelings or like anger or whatever, like more than other people. If you have this type of like a particular strength, so for instance, for me, it's like I feel like really used to have like kind of like stage fright or something, like feel really intense feeling if somebody's looking at me, or in some sort of like performance situation, right? Like you speaking for people and stuff like that. You really need to this is you really need to train this, because these are irrational fear, and the more you train it, you get better at it, and there is no get around it by putting yourself into that situation and then keep trying. It's not like you can just read and then engineer your mind. It just doesn't work that way. It's like practicing any instrument, same thing. You just have to keep doing it. So face your fear. But then I'm not talking about, of course, not talking about just do some stupid things. You don't want to do some play like stupid games, it's a risky game and then get a stupid prize. That's what I'm saying, right? What I'm saying is like something that important, which is like being able to talk in front of people, or like a lot of things. I mean, like doing well in school or like doing well in work, like perform well, like dealing people well, that type of things. So yeah, and if you get like too overwhelming, right, then break it into like little steps. So it's always the case, like people give up just because their expectation is too short, like, oh, I can finish this in this much. But that's not the case. Sometimes it takes years, sometimes it takes a decade or more. So it's okay, just do a little at a time. That's what that mean. What I usually mean by do your best. It's not do your best means like, oh, you gotta be something great, like put so much work in that day. That's not what I'm trying to say. It means it's like it's hard to confront this type of emotion, but then you got to just push it the envelope a little by little. That's what I'm trying to say about the do your best, the overcome and then train your discipline. And then sometimes, like discipline might not be the issue. Sometimes like you are literally not getting enough sleep, or you're not exercising enough. So take a nap, or short walk, or it probably might not be just a discipline per se. Like whenever you don't feel like doing it, so figure it out as well. It's not, we're not talking about the dogmatic. You always have to use this one tools. And sometimes people say, hey, you know what, like I got a pretty lucky life, and a lot of people is going to support me, right? But the real issue is that's just not a good strategy. If you're given like everything, like, oh, your parents or somebody give you money or support too much, then it's not your work. Even if you get a great score or a great work or whatever, that's not you did it, and then you don't feel that respect to yourself, like a sense of accomplishment. And then that type of result actually weighs you down, your soul. Like you feel like whatever you were getting is like bondage, right? And you are never going to be satisfied by getting somebody, and then somebody pulls you to, okay, go to that direction, and you just follow along, that type of things. So not being one of those, or not going to that direction. I mean, external support is extremely important, but regulated, and making sure that you're the one in charge of your own life, and use that discipline to not accepting those if it's too much, and then figure out your own path using your discipline. So when somebody's giving too much things and you're getting something, right? And actually a lot of times, like, you're not satisfied because you haven't earned it. And it is the form of like unsatisfied life. And even though you have a lot of material things, like abundance, I mean, we're not going to be able to take that thing in heaven, right? All these material things. And then whatever your luxury living, if you're not earning it, it's like a, pleasure island. It's just get bored right away. It's just a stimulation of some sort of pleasure, and it is a miserable life. It's better to not have any of those, but then you have a sense of direction, especially doing the right thing. And so how to do that, right? And then, if you have a discipline, then even if you don't have anything right now, you will get there for the abundance. I mean, that's how powerful the discipline is. Because if you're doing the right thing, right, means it's like, you observe the world and making sure that you're going towards the right, goals, right? Not deluding yourself, which requires also discipline. If you do this, then the reality will reward you, and then you will have whatever you wanted to have in the long run. Not nobody knows it's going to be when. It takes patience. Really, it depends on what kind of background you have, how much the issues you've been having. Some people can get there in 10 years. Some people get there in 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. You never know. But you will get there. And so, but then to do that, continue for on and on, because if you give up, then that's it. You know, no matter how well you've done for 10 years, if the goal is supposed to take 20 years, you know, that 10 years is just wasted. So you have to have the discipline for pretty much the rest of your life. But by really deeply integrating discipline into your life, and so you can do what's right for your life, you align yourself perfectly almost to the direction that you are supposed to take. It's like you're aligning yourself with a fate, or you create the fate, and then you can actually fulfill that. And people talk about the boldness or courage and all sorts. These are all brought up by the discipline that you can have. Without that discipline, you cannot do this. And if you try to be bold or courageous without the discipline, you might overshoot it. You might do something really stupid, right? So having the discipline will transform your life. Hi, thank you for watching. Please write down your idea in the comment section below to help each other. And if you found this video helpful, please subscribe and hit bell button to be notified a new video. See you next time.